We'll be learning about the relative pronouns. The main focus on this lesson will be on where and how to use who and whom. So now we'll see what are relative pronouns. Relative pronouns. A relative pronoun is a pronoun used to begin a subordinate clause. It can be referred to as a relative pronoun since it indicates the relationship of the subordinate clause to the rest of the sentence. Relative pronouns are the pronouns that add extra information to the sentence. So relative pronouns are same as the adjective clauses. You might have heard of adjective clauses, right? So they are same as relative clauses. Both of them add extra sentence. Relative pronouns are the pronouns that add extra sentence information to the sentence. So some of the common relative pronouns in English grammar are who or whom, whoever or whomever, that and which. However, in this lesson, we will be talking or discussing more on who and whom. So, where to use who? Who is often referred to the subject of a sentence. You know what is a subject, right? Subject is the person performing the action in a sentence. So, we can see we have got an example given below. The dog ate the cake. So always for obtaining a subject in a sentence, be it a normal sentence, simple sentence, or a complex sentence, the most easiest trick to use is always ask a question. Who is performing the action? The result or the answer you get is the subject of the sentence. For example, in this case, we can see that the dog ate the cake. Okay, so in this question, we in this sentence we know that the subject is the dog and the object is the cake and the verb is ate. However, in complex sentences, there are some chances that you make a mistake in subject and object. So for removing the confusion, I have given a question here: who ate the cake? Whenever you get a simple sentence or a complex sentence, ask the question: who is performing the action? For example, in this case, eat is the action. So who is doing the action of eating? The dog. So we can ask the question: who ate the cake? The dog ate the cake. So so the subject is the dog and the object is the cake and the verb is the ate. Today the teacher talked to the student. Who talked to the student today? The teacher talked to the student. So in this case, we can see that the subject is the teacher and student is the object or the object and the talk is the verb. So we can ask the question: who talked to the student today? The teacher talked. So the answer we result or the answer we get is the teacher. So the teacher is the subject of the sentence. So now we will see where to use whom. Where to use whom? Whom is often referred to this object of a verb or preposition. The verb is acting on the direct object. The indirect object follows a preposition. So there are two kinds of object, direct and indirect object, which I will explain in the following example. Now we'll see the examples to get a clear understanding about direct and indirect object. Direct object. We found the dragon. Whom did we fight? So in this case, you can see that we found the dragon. Whom did we find? We found the dragon. We fought the dragon. Sorry, we fought the dragon. Whom did we fight? We fought the dragon. So in this case, you get the direct object, right? You get the direct answer to the object. So in this case, if you whom did we fight? We fought with the dragon. So the dragon is the answer you are getting. So it is the direct object. You are getting the answer directly. So it is the direct object. And in indirect object, you can see that I drew this picture for you. For whom did I draw this picture? So the answer you get is indirectly true, right? It may be you, it may be I. So you don't know what is the actual object. So the answer you get is indirectly true. So that is why we are terming this as indirect object. Now we will see the trick for using who and whom. So the trick in using who or whom. The he or him method. This is the easiest trick in English grammar. The best way or the easiest way to use who or whom is to see where do we use he and him. Whenever he comes, always use who. Whenever him comes, use whom. You can see the m in the m letter in the word letter m in him and the letter m in whom too. So both are matching each other. So use him for whom, he for who. For example, you have got an example here. To dash who or whom did the prize go? Then the result is it went to him. So the answer you're getting is in him. So him comes under, you can see in the explanation I have given that him is used for whom. So him, whenever him comes, what we should use? We should use whom. So to whom did the prize go? So the answer we get here is who. So you can see the below that correct question is to whom did the prize go. Simple, right? Now we'll see some examples for who. The boy who sat beside him was his son. You can write in your notebook or in a piece of paper to get a better understanding about this topic. The boy who sat beside him was his son. Who built these lovely bridges? Asked the little girl. Who is going to ride that nag? Asked Daniel. One who frequents it proposes to call it Virid Lake. I beg you not to tell anyone who I am, and to do what I ask you. In these cases, you can see that the question you asked, for example, in the first case, you can see that the boy who sat beside him was his son. Now we can ask the question, who sat beside him? You can say the answer you get is the boy. So he was his son. So the answer is the boy is the subject. So in this case, the boy is the subject. So in all these 5 examples, you can ask the questions, and the answer or the result you get is the subject of the sentence. And the next we will go for whom. Examples for whom. He saw a gentleman whom he presumed to be the director, and told him about Helen. In this case, you can see that when you ask the question and you get the answer the subject as the subject, or you get the answer as the object, or followed by the preposition. At the porch he met two of the landed gentry, one of whom he knew. He willed to face the man of whom he thought. From whom did you get this? She asked. The people whom they met gazed at them. So in these cases, you can whenever you ask the question, you get the object of the sentence followed by the preposition. So I hope you understood. Please, I am advising you guys to write it in your paper so that you can remember in the near future. Whenever the exam comes, so that you can remember, you can just read them and get a recap about where to use who or whom. Now we'll do some of the exercises we have got here. Please pause the video and write these exercises in your note in a copy too, so that whenever there's no need to open the my video and check every time. You can just revise in your notebook. So the first question we have got here. Dash would you say is liable for the damage? So write in your notebook, write all the. Please pause the video and write the answers. I'm not going to tell the answers now. The next few slides you will get the answers. So there are 10 questions. Please write it down. So this is the next 5 questions. I hope you pause the video and write it down. So these are the answers for the questions I have got here. The correct answers is given here. First one, who I'm not going to discuss in my video, but I hope that you understood how to use who and whom. So this is the 5 questions, and the next one is the next 5 questions. Till 10 I have got answers. So that is I have given the clear explanations of how, when, and where to use how and who and whom. You can check in the answers too. They have given why should we use who and why should we not use who and whom. So if you so this is the so we have come to the end of this lesson. If you like my video, please do like and subscribe. The most important thing is now that when after you get the answers, please write it down in my comment box so that I can check your answers whether it is correct or not. Although I have given the answers, I can check how many of you have correct listen to my speech or listen to my video. If you have any questions, please ask me in the comment box. I will do answer it quickly as soon as possible. So if you like my video, please do like and subscribe. And in my next video, I will discuss about the next few relative pronouns in the English grammar. I will discuss about the where to use whomever, whoever, which, that. These things I will explain in my next video. So thank you for watching. Please do like and subscribe. Thank you.